Well, guys, I don't know what to say. Canada Post has been down for over a month now, and I've been waiting on a lot of parts and trucks in the mail. They're kind of stuck in limbo. I have most of what I need for the build that I'm going to be doing on the JJRC, and we're going to do a swap over with a lot of OGRC parts, including carbon fiber frame, some inserts, some linkage, servo, and some other parts that we're doing from other companies. So we're going to start that build series starting right now.
If you want this truck, subscribe to win it. Once we hit 10,000, I'm going to pick one lucky winner to receive this vehicle. After that, we're going to continue to give away vehicles and more products. So please go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and we'll get to the fun.
Oh yeah.
All right, so let us begin. Here is our donor truck that we had bought, and it's terrible. The frame is not C-channel like all the rest of them, and the body was a PCV. It does have some moldings on it. It's not terrible, but I thought this was a hard body when I bought it. I thought that would have been really neat, but it isn't. So we are going to take what we had, and we're pretty much going to strip it all down and replace most of it. We're keeping the skid plate, the transmission, the axles, and the bumpers and the body. I don't have the full system for it, as the transmission and the motor from Injora are, like I said, stuck in the mail. So a little bit frustrating, but I can't wait any longer. It's already been over a month and a half, so we're going to try and get this done, and we're going to rip it apart. The parts that we are going to be using are in this magical bag here that seems to want to deliver. Now, I have a lot of these parts. These are the frame rails I'm going to be using. So this is from OGRC, as you can see here. I'm really excited to use this, because this is actually got a 6-degree skid on it, and not only that, it's got a back mounted servo suspension. So if you look at where the bumper would be, we're going to be putting the suspension a lot further back on an angle, and as well as the rear as well. So that's going to be quite helpful. They also have sent me flex blades. These are quite similar to the ones that you would see from Injora, if not the same. They are labeled for where they're supposed to be. This is the right side, upper, rear, and so on and so forth. So those, I don't know if I'll use these on this build. I probably won't. If I do, that might just be on the bottom suspension, as I won't need them on the top. And reason why we would use those is to give longer stroke travel and flex to either pre-existing shocks, or like I have a longer shock, and I also have these shorter shocks. So I'm not sure which ones I'm going to use yet, but we'll get into that as we get there. We also have a 7-kilogram coreless servo, which we're going to try out. So right there, nice finish on it. These run about $45 Canadian, and we're going to try that out and see how that runs for us. I got to take the stock servo saver. I really don't know why they put a servo saver on a crawler, whatever. Then we also have some gears from Injora now, and links from OGRC. Now, thing is, I have another set of these somewhere. I have to find them. But that's what we're going to be doing. So we're going to do a tear down. Oh, and I also have metal drive shafts. So that's what we're going to be doing. So first of all, we're going to install the chassis and the shocks, and then everything else after that. All right, so this was the frame rail that we were using. So you can see here we had no adjustment or anything on there, and look how that just like, I could bend that with my finger just like this. Like, not good at all. It's like very soft metal. So yeah, good thing we're getting rid of that. So that's the one side done, and then we're gonna move on to the next side now. So pretty much this is the pile of parts that we've removed: drive shafts, links, shocks, servo, and the chassis. Pretty much everything else we're going to be keeping other than the bevel gears. So the only thing I have left to do here is open up the axles and remove the gears, and then put the new Injora ones in. Now with the carbon fiber chassis we have here, OGRC has included tools if you so require, which is nice. Not a lot of companies give you the tools when you order the chassis bits, and they do have some adhesive Velcro, a couple Allen wrenches, and what looks like some bushings, probably I would think for shocks maybe. So that's nice that they included those. So let's get a better look at the chassis here. So that's about a 2 mil thick chassis, which is plenty enough for this size of, or this scale of truck. And this is the battery tray. So it'll be fitting on like so in the back through the slot, and then the other frame rail. So we're going to keep all the bumpers, and we're going to go ahead and try and rebuild that. We're also going to be putting in the links at the same time we're doing that. And one key thing I liked about the OGRC links is that they already have the pivot balls installed. That will save us a ton of time just on clicking all that stuff in. So I'll be right back. I'm going to put these together, and then we're going to go ahead and install the reinstall the chassis and the links. One thing I would like to note, OGRC does have links that have slight bends on them to give you your inner dimensions for your triangulation. So just be clear that when you're putting these on, you have your bend for the link in the right spot, and then have the rod end in proper position, or else it's going to be really kerfuffled. Well, this has been interesting. I was trying to get the Injora 22 and 12 pinion gear and bevel gear into the front axle. No matter how I shimmed it on the outside, the inside, or not at all, the gear mesh was just not even acceptable. It would grit, grind, wouldn't spin freely. It was just a mess. Now, in a few episodes ago, I was also complaining about that similar type of mesh, but with a different problem with the Axe Speed gears. Now, I had contacted Axe Speed about that, and they sent me a new set, but because of the Canada Post strike, I haven't received them yet. However, I had that set of gears. Now, I tried that in the TRX4M. I tried that in the JJRC axle, which was this one. So this axle style is a bit different. You have the brass cover that you can put onto this one, and it wouldn't work, or it would work in some but not in others. I don't know if that's because of how it was molded, or the spacing on the gears, or what that was. So I decided, well, you know what, before I throw the stock gearing back in there, I'm gonna try that set that I had, and lo and behold, it actually worked in this specific axle. So I don't know what to tell you. So I have the Injora set in the rear, but not in the front. So it should end up with the, I think it's 25% overdrive in total. I have the same ratio in the front that this would have been, but yeah, so really bizarre. I will have to remove the tab that's there because we don't have that hole on this carbon fiber, and I'll remove it here, and then we're going to add a new drill hole here for the bumpers. Why am I keeping the bumpers, you ask? Well, we're just fixing that truck and making it being able to run. Eventually I might change it out and use a different body on it, but we'll see. So we've just got to put the 59 mil shocks in the front. I did try a different couple positions with the rear. I did have them in this position here on the top hole, but the problem with that was the shocks would collapse, but I couldn't collapse them all the way because the link holder on the inside would hit here and it bottom out, and we weren't getting full compression. So now we're actually almost bottoming out and we're at full compression. So that's our longest travel right there. We're probably still gonna have to put a limiting strap on that so the truck doesn't fall forward too much, and then we should have full articulation. But other than that, yeah, the truck's coming together. So let's just continue and keep on going. So clearly we need to adjust the rear shocks as we're not building a squat truck. It's a little off. So these are always things you need to check when you're putting your bodies back on. So we're going to readjust that rear shock to lift the back end up a bit so it doesn't look so screwy-looey. But she's almost done. Alright, so we got our servo all hooked up. The truck is a beast, to say the least. It is quite a high standing truck just because the tires we got on there, these are a 70 mil Swamp Claw, and we do have 59 mil shocks on there. The style of the chassis is a LCG chassis. How we're running it to get the how we're running it in order to get the suspension and the truck level, it's going to be sitting somewhat like this. So I could have the suspension sit lower, but unfortunately, because we have the motor in the way of the servo, until I get my Endura system in here, the truck's going to be sitting a little bit higher, or else we're going to run into issues where the servo hits the motor. Once we get that new system in, we shouldn't have an issue. But how it sits right now, the truck, once we clap down the body here, the body's a little bit harder to get down than a hard body is. You can see here that we have just the right amount of room for suspension. We're probably still going to get some tire bite on right there when we're turning. I can trim that out later, it's not a big deal. But this is the OGRC high voltage 7.5 coreless servo. It came with a bunch of plastic bits. I tried to get my aluminum ramp crab servo horn on there, but it just wouldn't go on this one. This says it's a 25 millimeter or 25 tooth servo horn, and we've got the plastic one that it came with on there until I can find another one, but it seems to be pretty good. So we're gonna go take her for a run downstairs and see how she works. As you can see, we've got our backdrop there now, so actually looks quite nice. I didn't want to get a full up forest in your face thing. I wanted it to kind of look like we were going back into a valley, but that there is Norway. Gotta be careful with that reverse. We don't have crawler reverse. There we go.
good stuff. Just a slight alteration to putting a band on the front. Nice. So all in all, huge improvement. The band that we put on the front, which is literally just tied in, you can see it in there, is just tied over the frame rail and through the upper link. So that's giving us no pull out, so that the truck's not flipping over backwards. And then we cut out the bumper there. So all we need left to do now is put in a better system whenever that arrives, and she will almost be golden. But just a beast of a machine. Mud Hog! There she is, fellers. Alright guys, that's going to be all for this video on Christmas Eve. I hope everybody's having a great Christmas or happy holidays if you don't celebrate Christmas. So, until next time!